Hi folks, this is my homemade powder coating oven, which you can see in parts 1, 2 and 3. We're going to put it to good use now. See you in a minute. Right, well, as you know, I built this little beast from an old cooker, and also this should be an old sort of filing cabinet, basically, not one with the drawers. It was like an office cabinet, and all I've done is converted that. You can watch the other 3 videos, links to the description below to them videos. So I have actually powder coated one item, and I've done that on my Retro Hacks channel. It was a little oven. Again, I'll leave the link in the description below. It's the first time I've ever used the equipment, so let's take you over now and show you exactly what I've got, what I've used from my first beginner's point of view powder coating. Right, you may or may not know that I've actually got a different YouTube channel called Retro Hacks as well, where I do more restoration type stuff on there without any commentary or me talking. And I've done my first powder coating piece of kit on there on that channel. As I said, I'll leave the link in the description below. And I've been using this Easy Coat system, which I'm going to show you right now. Now, let me just talk about powder coating for beginners first of all. I've never ever powder coated before. It's something I've been meaning to do for many years, and I've never actually got around to doing it. The nearest I've got is going on YouTube and eBay, watching a few videos, and also going to eBay and looking at the powder coating equipment on there, getting confused because not really understanding what I was looking at. There's dual voltages and stuff like that, high and low voltage switches on them. Then there's such a big price variation for maybe a couple of £100 or £100 or just over that sort of price bracket, right up into the £1,000, and not actually understanding what the difference is between the two and what they're actually capable of. Anyway, cut a long story short, I went online and I found this company, which is Electrostatic Magic here in the UK, and they've got this Easy Coat system. Now, I had a lot of trouble finding YouTube videos on this because they didn't appear to have a YouTube presence. They've got a website, and as I say, all the links were going to be in the description below. And I actually phoned them up and contacted them, and I spoke to the actual operator there. I think it's a small family concern, and I went into forums, had a look in forums, and there was people in forums saying, oh, they can't be very good, they've got a PO box number, you can't talk to anyone, there's always an answer phone or whatever. The reason being is because they do most of their trade at car shows and stuff like that. They actually travel all around the country. I think Carl is the owner. I think it's his wife Philippa. I may be wrong there, but if I am wrong, please forgive me. And 9 times out of 10, she answers the phone. Carl's normally out and about at car, auto troubles and stuff like that. Anyway, cut a long story short, I give him a phone call and said that I live in Lincolnshire, obviously. They was doing a car show up in Newark, I think. And they set stands up for their system, and they sell, as I say, literally loads of stuff offline as opposed to online, although they've got the online shop. So I just mentioned to them that I've got a YouTube channel. I'm very interested in powder coating. I've seen their system online. I've seen a couple of videos which they provide on their website, and I was a little bit intrigued because the ones that I found were the Eastwood systems for the sort of hobbyist, semi-professional or do-it-yourselfer. And in the UK, I went on Amazon, I went on eBay, and they're not selling them in this country at this moment in time. Although the Eastwood system's got a very good write-up, and it's a dual voltage system. They operate on a very high voltage apparently. And then there was this system. This system doesn't have any voltage to it whatsoever. So I was quite intrigued. So I wanted to speak to the person responsible for selling this system, and that was Carl, as I said to you, from Electrostatic Magic. And he said that he'd come and actually give me a demonstration because he's up in the area. They're setting a stall up pretty near to where I live. So he come up and actually showed me this system. He stayed for 2 hours. He showed me all what it does, and I was so blown away with it, and that's why I decided that this is going to be the system for me. And also, as I said to you, they provide you with the backup care. They've got all the powders and stuff like that as well. And anyway, let me show you this system and show you how it works. Right, okay, so this is the Easy Coat powder coating system from Electrostatic Magic. You can buy it without the box. It's nice to have it with the box because it keeps it nice and contained. And this is basically it. What you've got is the Electrostatic Magic Easy Coat gun. This is the gun where the powder comes out of. you buy your powders. It comes in this case. If you buy it with a case, you've got access for 2 storage ones in there. And as you can see, the bottles of powder, they come in packages normally, but you could buy these bottles and they'll fit straight in your case. And what they do is literally screw straight into the top of your machine. You turn it out that way, obviously, before you screw it on. You also get a wire that's going to put around your wrist, and then this part connects either to the actual part you're going to be powder coating or the metal tube or something that holds on to it. I'll show you a bit more in a minute. We've got a water trap in there that can screw straight onto the bottom of that if you want, which I'm going to do. So once you've done that, put your adapter on there obviously for whatever type of nozzle you're connecting up to. I've got this bottle of black gloss powder here, so all you would do was literally take that off, turn the gun, invert the gun, literally put the bottle on like that, screw it in, and that's it. You're ready to powder coat. All you've got to do is set your compressor up to a low pressure. He recommends between 8 and 10 psi, although it can take up to 50 psi, this gun. And there's no high voltage coming out like on the other ones you've got. You've got high voltage end on there, which can generate an electric shock and give you quite a belt, to be honest with you. So that doesn't have this. So all the magic basically happens in this actual little chamber here. Apparently there's PTFE rods in there, and when the gun, when the powder leaves the gun and goes through this chamber, static electricity is generated, and what it does, the powder then becomes positively charged. So when it exits the gun, it's looking for anything less positive, in other words negative charge, and it will stick to it. So if you're grounded with this around your wrist, for example, and just clip that onto either the part itself, or sometimes when you're hanging it up off of a metal rod, you'd hang it on a wire, for example. Let me show you. You'd hang that up from a wire. This wire is obviously metal, and if you hung that over a copper pole, for example, you can just clip that onto the copper pole, or a bit of copper pipe, for example. Plumbing pipe is what I've been using, so that when you fire this at that, the piece is earthed or grounded to your wire, to your hand, and the positive charge which is generated in there means that it will stick to that. And it's that simple. There's no high voltage involved. And I wondered why they had the high voltage systems. I thought maybe for a more like a larger part you can powder coat, but apparently it still works, this system, on large items like frames or whatever, motorcycle frames, subframes or stuff like that. I'm going to show you how this works. I couldn't believe it when he told me that you don't need no high voltage. I always thought you needed the high voltage to actually produce the powder coating to actually stick to the metal, but you don't do it. You don't need it. When he showed me, I couldn't believe it. So anyway, that's that. Obviously, you're going to need a compressor, and bearing in mind this thing operates up to 50 psi, but you're normally pushing the powder out of the gun between 8 and 10 psi, which is basically any little small compressor would do that. You can get a 150 pound compressor and you'll be able to operate this gun, no problems whatsoever. So basically, once you've got this piece of kit and you've got some powders, providing you've got a way of cleaning your items. This is an old rusty bracket here, for example, off of a lawnmower. Now you can either do that on a wire wheel, you can do that with chemicals, or you can do that in a sandblaster or a media blaster. I'm lucky enough to have all three of them, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sandblast these little pieces. You may not be able to do that, but I'm just going to show you a piece done with a sandblaster and a piece that is not done with any mechanical way whatsoever, but just clean the oil off it basically, and it's still rusty. But I'm just going to show you that this powder coating will still take on that. They've actually got demonstrations on their website where they actually powder coat glass, and they also have powder coated hardwood as well. So providing you can get it to stick, it can powder coat and it can take the temperature of the oven. These powders cure at 180 degrees C, and they take 10 minutes to cure. Once they've been put in the oven, and you'll see the powder sort of flow out. They call it flow out, where it goes glossy, depending on if you've got a glossy powder, that is. And then you count 10 minutes down from that. But the part wants to reach the temperature, and You can't overcook it, really, because you can leave it in there, and if you do it 15-20 minutes because you've forgotten, it doesn't matter. It won't damage the part whatsoever. It may, I've been told, get a bit hazy on the surface if you leave it over the distance of time. Over the distance of time. That sounds very spacey, doesn't it? If you leave it in for longer than what you should do, because the waxes apparently can rise to the surface, but you can just wipe that off with a microfiber cloth. So anyway, let me just clean these parts up. I'll show you what I've got for you. Right, so I've got this old lawnmower air filter box. It's made out of metal. The bottom I'm going to leave as it is. I'm not going to sandblast it. I'm not going to wire wheel it. I'm going to leave it like that. As you can see, it's got a little bit of rust on it there. There's some old paint still left on there as well. So I'm going to leave that bit as it is. The lid to this, I'm going to sandblast it because it's got textured rust on it underneath it. So I will sandblast that. And I'll also sandblast these two wheel brackets as well, because as you can see, they're very corroded and pitted as well. So I'm just going to do that. So let me sort this out first, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, right, so as you can see here now, I've now sandblasted these three pieces, and this piece, as you can see, I've just left as it is. It's still got little bits of rust on it. I have degreased it. I'm going to do them all again, mind you. And as you can see, look, now it's taken all that pitting off. That's why I wanted to sandblast the lid, because it had all that pitting on, so that's gone now. These bits here, these brackets, as you can see, they look like they've been zinc plated, but I've not actually taken all the zinc plating off. You can still powder coat over other stuff, providing that the stuff you're powder coating to is obviously sound, which that looks like it's pretty sound in certain areas. So I'm just going to powder coat over all of that. We need to clean these first, so, and ideally you want to be using like a lint-free cloth on these when you clean these, because you don't want to have any residue of fluff on them, for example. And I'm touching it with my hand, so I should have my gloves on now, but again, this is just a small demonstration just to show you. I'm taking all the oils off there, as you can probably see, and all the old dirt. You can see the dirt on there. So I'm going to leave that like that and just sort of hold that edge there, look. So that's chemically clean as far as I'm concerned. Again, same with this one. Just give a wipe over with this acetone. You can see the dirt coming off. That's M3. Now this one, as I said to you, it's just a matter of degreasing it. I've taken all the flaky paint off of it. It had loads of oil on it, and it's still got some rust on it as well. So the old surface paint's still on there, as you can see. Again, it seems sound, it seems solid. So I'm just going to powder coat over that as well, just to show you what you can probably achieve. There you go, there's that one. And if you've watched the actual powder coating oven build, you'll know that I've still not quite finished it. We've got it going, obviously, just for this. I'm going to be putting this up on a plinth over there, so I've got that to do. I was going to put it on casters. I'm not doing that now. It will be sitting on a plinth further back in my workshop there. I've still got to enclose the electrical control panel, and I've also got to enclose the back electrics. But while I'm in here, I can show you this. The only difference I've done to the build that I've done was, let me show you. And as you can see, I've added a rod there. All that was, if I just pulled it out like that, look. This is a piece of M12 studding. I've drilled two holes up the top there, as you can probably see, and I'll push one hole in, and then this just levers in, and then I sort of centralise it, and that's giving my centre rod there. The thermostats, which I had down at the bottom first of all, are now halfway up. One on this side for that element and one on this side for this element, because what I found, it was taking too long to heat up. It was reaching probably temperature too quick, low down, but not high up sort of thing, you know. So I've moved them up there, and it heats up a lot quicker now. I've still got this temporary hanging thermometer on the inside there. That's working a treat, so I'm just going to leave that. So I'm just going to shut the doors. Oh, wrong one. Like that. Turn that and leave that to heat up. Should take about 25 minutes. Right, so I've got these powder coating hooks. You can buy these, but you can use copper wire. I suppose that would be fine. But I don't know how dear these are. These come with the kit. As you can see, I've already done some powder coating with them. And if I'm going to reuse these again, what you need to do is to just scrape off the powder coating where the hook makes contact, and that's rather harder to do in real life because powder coating is a lot more durable than paint. So just to let you know that. It might pay you to buy quite a lot of these, as I say, so you haven't got to go through this procedure every time. So I've got, although it's powder coated, the inner edge there, which is going to rest on the piece there, for example, is now making contact with the piece. The top bit's clear, so that's going to go on the copper bar. So that's basically now ready for me to powder coat. So let me do these, hang these bits up as well, and we'll go out and have a look and see where I'm powder coating. Right, for the moment, this is my little makeshift booth. All it is the back off of the oven that I stripped down, and I've got a copper bar going along the top there, and this little hole there was where the original fan was on the back of the oven, and I've just put an extract fan behind it. Let me show you. Just sitting there, so it's just drawing it away. Ideally, I will probably be putting back in the normal fan that come with that back unit, and I will be ducting it away. This wants to be inside really, but I'm just doing it outside because I haven't really set this up properly yet. But as you can see, it's just a little do-it-yourself unit, and this is the copper pipe I told you about, which is just taped onto the end there, and that's making a contact through the metal parts through these rings there. Right, so I've got my compressor set around 8 psi. I've got a water trap on there, as you can see, and what you're looking for is a little plume of smoke like that, not shooting out too far, you'd be just wasting powder, and obviously not enough where it just drops out. That's just about right there, look. So I'm just going to connect up this wrist strap just by putting it onto me and connecting it, not to the part directly, although you can do that, just onto the end of that copper pipe there, as you can probably see. I'm just going to start my extract fan up. You may not be able to hear me, so from this moment on we're going to be powder coating. Right, so I'm just going to spin them round. As you can see, quite a lot of the coating's actually gone onto the other side. And again, just finish off now. It's just a bit windy out here. Start that in. There we go, and that's it. It's all covered. Now, ideally, what we want to do now is to put these straight into the oven without disturbing them too much, and then we'll bake them. So let's do that. Right, so how simple is it to clean up your gun after you've actually sprayed with one colour and actually change over to another colour? Let me just put my mask on and I'll show you. Right, so we've got our gun here. We just sprayed with black, as you know. So you just basically turn it up the correct way. Just give it a tap, knock any powder back into the container. Undo your container. Put your lid back on. There you go, that's now ready to use again. There's no worrying about it going off. It's got something like a 15-year shelf life if you keep it in a dry area, so that's all right, isn't it? So get your normal compressor, put your air gun on it, and literally just And that's basically it. All I've got to do now, if I wanted to put a different colour in there, just screw another chamber on and maybe give 1 or 2 squirts just to get rid of any, if there is any residue in there, and you're good to go for the next one. But this is such a simple system. And as I say, just connecting that down to earth, you don't have to put this on, it's just convenient if you've got a copper pipe there, like I have. And just putting that on there like that, that then becomes more negative or grounded than the powder, and everything that hangs off of that is going to get coated, as you saw. So let's have a closer look now at the actual parts before I put them in the oven and see what coverage we've got. Don't forget, we've had no high voltage here whatsoever. All we've got is, it's just like, you know when you rub a plastic rod on your clothes and then hold it above your head, and then your hair stands up and is attracted to your hair. That's because it's being attracted, the positive's being attracted to the negative, and that's how the powder sticks. As I say, this is where the case is handy, because you can just put everything back into the case and then pack it away. Look, I've not even done that up tight, look. It's all hand tight. So you ain't even got to get any tools out to set this thing up. That is fully open, by the way, on the gun, so you have that fully open, and you're pushing in 8 psi via your compressor, obviously. So you need 8 to 10 psi they recommend, although this gun can take up to 50 psi. No reason to shoot it out faster, because you'd just be wasting powder. And as you can see, this is the little chamber here, which charges up the powder and gives it a positive charge, and it's attracted to anything negative, and it's that simple. I couldn't believe how simple it was. So that goes back in there. Even the water, look, I've just unscrewed the water trap, back in there like that. That goes in there. You've got room for a couple of powders in there, and away she goes. Till the next time. That's not taking long whatsoever, is it? So I don't know whether you can see or not, but I've actually got these 4 pieces hanging up there, just waiting for the oven to heat up. Just hanging off some screws I've screwed in, and as you can probably see there, we've got full coverage all the way around. Stuff where you'd normally find hard to paint, like inside these little returns, for example, is automatically picked up with the powder coating system, and these are going to hopefully look like brand new parts. Now they do various colours. I've done all these black, obviously. I should have done these ones silver, actually. I should have didn't think about it. They do a fantastic chrome, which I'm going to be testing out. I've got a gold gloss here, and I've also got a white gloss, which I've used for that little cooker, which I actually restored. I've got red, blue, green, marine blue. I've got a chrome, and then I've got a clear coat as well, which you put over the chrome, and apparently really brings it out. With the chrome, it's slightly different. These all operate on 180 degrees, all these normal colours. And the chrome, you have to take up to 200 degrees. And then you have to obviously clear coat it. And I think it's got to stay in there for longer as well. But all that information is on their website, the Electrostatic Magic website. And as I say, the reason why I'm doing this video is because there isn't really a lot on YouTube about them, and I was so impressed with this system. And as I say, Carl actually come around and spent 2 hours with me and showed me the pros and the cons of the system, and I couldn't believe it, and that's why I'm bringing this to you now, because obviously quite a few people have actually expressed an interest in powder coating, and you've probably done exactly the same as me. You've gone to YouTube, you've gone to eBay, and all you can see on the eBay listings are either thousands of pounds of units, or something from the Far East or China, for example, for about £125. And not knowing exactly how reliable that is, because it's coming from a very, very long way away. Here, this is in the UK. Those of you in the UK, I think they ship abroad as well. So, and I'm no expert, so if you can see and learn with me as a beginner, this is the situation you're going to be in as well. So I now know that I can powder coat. I don't need a big, large compressor to be able to do that. I don't need a high voltage system to be able to do that. I just need this system here, and you're going to see the results once we put these in and actually just pull them out. Now don't forget, one of them parts wasn't cleaned whatsoever. I just wanted to make that clear. It wasn't cleaned whatsoever. There was still rust underneath it. And as I say, let's put these in the oven now, and let's have a look at how they come out in about 10 to 15 minutes time. Right, okay, it's up to about 150 degrees at the moment. I'm going to put them in anyway. Right, there we go, all 4 of them in. Let's shut them in now and leave them. So first of all, what I'll be looking for is for them to go sort of shiny, and once that happens, then I'll then count me 10 minutes. Right, let's just check the temperature of our parts. There we go, 180 degrees centigrade there. that's the temperature these powders float out at, and I'm happy with that. So they've been sitting like that now for probably about 10 minutes, so I'm going to turn it all off now. I'm going to open my doors up. Look at them, look, lovely. So let's get them out and hang them up. Right, here we go. These are the pits now out. As you can probably see there, looks absolutely lovely, this powder coating inside and out there, as you can probably see. And this is so much more durable than a painted surface, as you probably know. You can spill petrol on this, no problems whatsoever. And it's lovely and glossy without worrying about putting too much on, without any runs or anything. That was the bit I sandblasted, as you can probably remember. This was the bit that I didn't sandblast. It still had old paint and rust on it, but as you can see, it's actually taken very well on it, and that's come out lovely and glossy too. All in there, if you remember, I had rust around there still. So, you know, if your surface preparation, or if you haven't got a sandblaster, don't worry about that, because you can still achieve these sort of results without a sandblaster. These are the two brackets off of the wheels. As you can probably see, there was pitting on the back of that one. Obviously we can't do nothing about that, but that's just the pitting on the metal. But if you've got smooth metal, as you can probably see, all the edges, you haven't got to worry about all the edges in there. They all get coated. Everything gets coated. These were in a right state, if you remember. So these are now serviceable items. And if I was actually doing parts up to sell, powder coating is a great way to go, because you could sell these on now as a good replacement or refurbished parts. There you go. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. Not painted, powder coated, hard, durable wearing. And as I say, I've used no high voltage system. I've used the Electrostatic Magic Easy Coat system, which doesn't require high voltage, just the normal static electricity, due to that lovely little powder coating gun with this special tube on it here, which actually charges the powder up inside there and then shoots out fully charged. No high voltage there.